It's been an awesome summer down here in Tassie, fly fishing on the rivers. I'll run you through what I like to take out with me on the river each day. So these Simms Vapor boots have served me very well. They're a rubber sole, which gives me the ability to use them both here in Australia and over in New Zealand. If I'm in Tasmania, I actually don't like to have studs in my boots because it means I can move along the river quietly. But if I go to New Zealand where the water's a bit heavier, I'll chuck some studs in there. So next on the list is a good set of waders. Simms breathable waders will keep you nice and dry, but they won't be too hot at the same time. I've had these for about 3 seasons now, and they're still going strong. Also, waders in Tasmania will protect you from the snakes. So one thing you can't take for granted in Tasmania is the weather. So along with my breathable waders, I just like to have a really good quality jacket as well, because you never know when the weather's going to turn. So that's my wading gear. We'll move on to some of the fishing stuff. Firstly, the rod. This season I've used the Primal 10-foot 2-weight, which has just been sensational. Beautiful for fishing the rivers here in Tasmania. I've used this for both Euro nymphing and dry fly, and a little bit of nymph under dry as well. It's been a really, really good rod. Next onto the reels. So I take 3 reels out on the river with me. I've got one that's specific for nymph under dry, one that's for dry fly, and then one that's got the Euro nymphing leader on it. Over the summer I've been using the Lamson Liquid 1.5, which has been amazing, and also the Speedster as well, which is a really beautiful little reel. So to keep all my bits close and handy while I'm out on the river, I like to wear a vest, and I've had this Simms vest for 12 years now, and it's still going strong. So on my vest gives me the ability to keep a lot of different things. So my fishing reels can go in the pockets, just like that. Then I have one on my rod. It's also got my fly boxes. So up in the top here I've got my dry fly box, and down in the side I've got my nymph box. And the reason for having my dry fly box in the top, because sometimes your bottom part of your vest might get wet, and that keeps your dries dry. So got my nymph box there. I also like to keep a set of cutters and forceps, floatant, everything I need for a day on the river. So my Tippet selection is fairly easy. It's the best tippet on the market, and that's Trout Hunter fluorocarbon. So I use a lot of 7X, which is great for dry fly and also for Euro nymphing. If the water's a bit dirty or the fish are a bit bigger, then I'll go for 6X. So I'll show you some flies that I like to use in Tasmania. Firstly, dries. There's lots of different dries, but I use just a selection of CDC patterns such as F flies and upwings and split wings, and then also things like hoppers and caddis patterns like the tabernass. You'll also need some spinners and some ant patterns as well. There's so many different dries you can use, the list is endless, but they're just a few that will get me by on the rivers. So my nymph box is loaded with lots of different flies, but they can be broken down into a few different groups. So I've got lots of pheasant tails, which are a great mayfly imitation. I've got tag nymphs, which are an attractor, and then I've got lots of caddis patterns. They're the main bugs on the river, and I think they're the flies that you should have when you come to Tasmania. So in Tasmania, you're going to be using lots of small flies, so anything from 14 down to 20, and bead sizes from 3 to 2.5 mainly. I like to have different colours, so I'll have silvers, I'll have copper, some gold, and then also some other ones like pink as well. That'll get you by for the rivers down here. So lastly, if I'm taking my camera with me, I like to take a dry bag with me, and this is a great little dry bag from Simms that's a backpack as well, so I can put my camera in there and know it's nice and safe. So you can make fly fishing as complicated as you like, but this simple kit is more than enough to come down to Tasmania and catch heaps of fish.